We're joined now by the 2026 national champions, head coach Dusty May of the University of Michigan, with Trey McKinney, Yaxel Lendeborg, and Elliot Cadeau. Coach, could you open up with some thoughts, and then we'll get some questions for the student athletes first.
Yeah, what a way to wrap up the 25-26 college basketball season with this group. I want to begin by thanking last year's team. At Michigan, we came up a little bit short, but those guys laid the foundation, established an identity for us, and also helped attract these guys to come in and chase this dream together. And secondly, I want to thank our FAU guys, the team and staff that really, this is one time I'm making it about me, that really helped us grow together. And that was the first time I'd been with a group that was truly sacrificial, where we were about each other, and because of that we all improved so much. And this team's done the same thing. It's when you bring a group this talented together and they decide from the beginning that they're going to do it this way, and they never waver and they never change. That's probably the most uncommon thing in athletics now, and it's a tribute to their character, but also those in their circles around them, their coaches, their parents, their mentors. They allowed these guys to give themselves up for the group, and it's never guaranteed, but for these guys to cut down the nets after all they sacrifice is pretty special.
We're looking for questions for Elliot, Yaxel, or Trey first. We're going to go to the second row. Well, we can go to the first row first. We'll go to Mitch, then we'll go to the second row, then we'll go to the center. We're going to have a nice time, guys.
Okay, thank you. This is for Yaxel and Elliot. The game wasn't a typical Michigan game in terms of your shooting, assists, 3 points. Almost none of that was going on. How did you guys find a way to sort of shift your game in the middle of the game to almost a wholly different identity and still win?
Elliot first, please, then Yaxel.
All year we've been just finding ways to win, and we made 2 threes the whole game. We wasn't making shots. We weren't. We had a couple assists, not as many as we usually do, but we constantly just been finding ways to win all year, no matter how everybody's playing.
To piggyback off of that, early on in the season, we went through our struggles offensively, trying to find our rhythm. What stuck out and what really brought us together was how, unselfish we were eventually in those moments, and our defensive toughness, and whenever offense isn't rolling, we find a way to make plays with our defense and make it lead to quick offense.
Second row, same area of the room.
Chris Ballas at the Wolverine on 3. Yaxel, when did you know you were going to go? What percentage were you at? And were you a little bit tentative early and a little bit scared to move on that much?
Yeah, I knew I was going to go as soon as I got back on the court. The first game, I knew there was no way I was going to miss this game no matter what was going on. I was very tentative this game. Yeah, I felt like I was, pretty much holding our team down. I feel like we could have been up by way more early in the game, later on in the game. I kept having opportunities to make plays, and I couldn't make the play. But these guys stuck with me no matter what. They all believed in me. I was, I was trying to push through my mental and, physical battle I was dealing with myself. But, these guys really helped me out and helped me push through.
Up front in the center.
Tom Crawford, Press Pass, Fox 47, Lansing. This is for Yax. There was a time late in the second half, you came out, you looked frustrated. I saw it on a TV monitor. LJ kind of was motivating you at that moment, and seemed like, and then you went in the game and you scored a couple buckets real quick. Can you, since he had a similar injury, or he was, perhaps share that conversation and what he has meant to you?
Yeah, he was telling me to stop being so hard on myself. He was basically saying, like, I'm one of the reasons why we're here, like one of the biggest reasons that we got to this moment, and nobody's going to, downplay me or what I've done this year because of one bad game. So, he just kept telling me to keep going no matter what. He believes in me. All of us, the rest of the team has my back no matter what. And, just find a way to get easy buckets. Coach Joyner also came to me and talked to me about the Anthony Davis game where he was having a bad game and he found a way to, impact the team. So I just tried to find a way to do something to help the team out, and eventually it started working out.
Up front on the left side.
Steve Kornacki, the Kornacki Wolverine Report. Elliot, when you came here to this tournament, everybody was forecasting who would be the most valuable player of the tournament and such. And when you got the trophy, I know that trophy right there is what means the most to you. But what did it mean to you to be honored like that?
Man, it means the world to me. I'm just so proud of myself, where I came from. Last year I was really down on myself. A lot of people doubted me. And I'm just so proud of myself for me to be able to say I was the most outstanding player and win a national championship at the same time.
To the left of the aisle.
Bob Winowski, Detroit News. Follow up to that, Elliot, down on yourself last year. What did you guys see when you first got together where you started talking about winning championships when you maybe barely even knew each other and you didn't know what you still had in you coming here? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I just saw so much talent around me since day one, and just like a unique set of talent, like 3 bigs at the same time, switching 1 through 4. I just seen like a unique type of basketball that we was playing, and I knew like it would be a mismatch nightmare for every single team that we played, and it was this year.
Up front on the right side, Mike.
Yeah, Elliot, your job obviously changed when LJ went down. A lot more responsibility on you, and somehow you went from there to, in these last 2 games, playing maybe the 2 best games you've played all year. Can you explain that journey, how you were able to traverse that through the course of this month?
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing the same from when LJ went down. I feel like I just got the ball more and I just played more minutes. I just had higher usage, so it seems like my stats were higher. But I think LJ for even if he's out, he's still supporting us. He's literally an assistant coach out there, and it just inspires me to go out there and just play for him.
Third row on the right.
Congratulations, guys. This question is for Elliot and Yaxel. You guys both transferred in at the start of this season. What have you seen in terms of your fit with the rest of the team, and how have you seen yourselves grow since you become a part of this Michigan team?
Once we transferred in, I know, especially for me, the whole University of Michigan welcomed me with open arms. I've seen many Twitter arguments of these guys going back and forth with everybody saying like, we deserve the spot here, and they're going to cherish every moment of us being here. Shout out to Will, Roddy, Namari, LJ, especially those guys. Once we all got together, they were super genuine with us the whole way. They tucked us in under their wing, and they showed us the Michigan way. They could have easily got butt hurt or something because the new guys were coming in, stealing their minutes, stealing their points. But they didn't care. All they cared about was winning, and look where it led us.
This is the yellow mic, CBS in the center.
Adi Joseph, CBS. Yaxel, now that you have a championship trophy, can you tell us a little bit more about the injury? Are you going to need follow-up surgery, follow-up consultation? Is there any, what did it take to get back on the court tonight?
I hope I didn't mess anything up any more than I already was. I'm going to find that out in a couple of days, once we finish celebrating. But, it took a lot to get on the court, honestly, and to stay on there. I was dealing with a lot of mental issues today. These guys all leaned in on me and helped me out, helped me dig myself out the hole, man, and just continue to keep fighting. Chris, shout out to him because he was with me pretty much all day, all night, trying to make sure that I was even 50% able to play. And I did the best I could regardless of the outcome. But it feels really, really good to be a champion, to be on top of the world, man.
Second row on the left side.
Haziel Richardson, the Daily Wildcat. Trey, this question is for you. What about your teammates just makes you the most proud to say that you won a national championship with them?
I think just the way throughout the season, everybody on this team is extremely talented, and for us to be able to, sacrifice something for ourselves, a lot of us, could be somewhere else, doing more than what we've done this season, but I think it just shows that this team is super selfless. And I've never been around such a talented group of guys that, are willing to take a lesser role for somebody next to them. So I'm just really grateful to be around this team, and, I'm going to cherish this moment for the rest of my life.
We want to thank and congratulate Elliot, Yaxel, and Trey, 2026 national champions. They're going to head back to the locker room right now, which is open until 12:56.
Congrats, guys.
First one's up front on the left, Dan.
Dan Wolken, Yahoo Sports. Congratulations, Dusty. It took you a very long time in your career to get to a point where you could pick your next move, essentially. What made you think that you could do it at Michigan and do it quickly once you got to that point?
The hardest part, and first, hold that question real quick, Dan. I want to, Elliott beat me to it. LJ Kaysen was playing as well as any backup guard in all the country, and probably playing as well as anyone on our roster. And at Illinois, he's hooping and has the most Florida man injury in the history of injuries. And the next day, you would think he retired and took over an assistant coaching spot. His spirits were up. He was immediately pouring into the guys, trying to learn, pick their brain, because he had a different perspective. And that's very indicative of this team. He never one day brought negative energy because he felt sorry for himself. And for Elliott to shout him out, beat me to it, is pretty impressive as well. But the toughest part about jobs, and this has always been my opinion because I've just taken jobs. My wife used to get angry with me because I just call her and say, hey, what do you think? Do you mind if I take this job? For whatever reason. And so now you don't get a chance to really go feel the place and see it. And even FAU, I went to see it, and before I'd seen anything, I'd already signed the contract. That's how impulsive I am, and whatever the case. So yeah, Anna will give you a better background than me on all this stuff. And living in Ypsilanti when I was a young assistant in Eastern Michigan, I wasn't that familiar with Michigan other than '89 and being a fan of the game, and just the feelings that people had, the pride they had in their university. I just thought that was really, really cool. We thought it was a great time to get back to the Midwest. We were to stage our life, or we were empty nesters and just wanted something different. And then just felt like Michigan was a place, ultimately, with the changing landscape, that we could retain really good players, even if it wasn't going great for them. It was going to be hard to leave. And even Terrace is a great example. He had options to go anywhere in the country, and it was difficult for him. Based on my conversations, it was difficult for him to leave the University of Michigan and the relationships that he had made and all the people that poured into him. So I just felt like that's the type of place that I'd love to coach at.
We have a question in the front row.
Clayton Safey with the Wolverine. Coach, congrats. I mean, you just won the national championship. You talk a lot about doing something eternal. You're around Terry Mills a lot. What do you think this accomplishment is going to do for this group the rest of their lives and beyond?
It further strengthens their bond, and we didn't need this for that to happen because of their actions all year. But to hang we talked about it early in the season, a center banner. Like we have a lot of, Michigan's got a proud tradition. There's a lot of banners on the side. There's one lonely banner up in the middle, and if we were having a bad practice or we didn't have our edge, we would remind them that if we're ever going to hang another banner so that one has some company, then we can't have these type of days or we can't have these type of practices. And usually that was one way that we could refocus our group.
We have two in the front row toward the right. Mitch first.
Yeah, congratulations, Dusty. Mitch Alvin, Free Press. Like I asked the players before, it seemed like this was a really unusual blueprint to try to win free throws, blocks, and steals. That's not kind of the Michigan thing. Were you conscious of that was the way you were going to have to do it? Did you talk to the players about, okay, if the other stuff's not working, this is what we have to do? Talk about like changing on the fly.
Yeah, early in games, we can tell how the game's being played. And so then we talk about how we have to adjust and we have to figure out solutions based on how they're guarding us and all the things. We actually thought the basket would open up a little bit in the second half. We felt like we were going to make shots in the second half. We generated, I think there were 2 threes in the first half that we didn't really love those attempts, and you're not going to love them all. The rest of them we thought were really good offense, and the ball just didn't go in. And so we're trying not to result in all that we do and just stay with the process and evaluate the contributions and how it felt. And so then early in the second half, the game got a little bit chippy and physical, and so we thought this is going to be a game we just have to figure it out. We started going offensive, defensive early, offensive, defensive substitutions early, and UConn was dominating us on the glass. Credit to them; they were as motivated and determined as any team we played on the offensive glass, but we did feel like we were defending well enough that we were going to be able to find enough baskets.
Up front on the right side.
Jake Singer with Maize and Brew. First of all, congratulations, Dusty. A lot of the players just now were talking about your assistant coaches being so instrumental in getting them ready in game, before the game. Can you talk about your cohesive coaching staff and how much credit it was to them to getting you guys to this point, winning this national championship?
I could go on until tomorrow. That's one of our secret sauces is we have an incredibly talented group of coaches that never make it about themselves. And look, this is an ego-driven business. This is a lot of alpha males with great egos, and that's why they're successful doing what they do. And these guys have made our players the number 1, 2, and 3 priority from day one over their own careers, over their own individual attention and accolades and things like that. And so just it's hard for our players not to follow the team, which is the staff, when they're modeling that behavior every day. And they deserve a big chunk of credit for this.
Second row on the right side, Mike.
Mike DeCourcy, the Sporting News. Dusty, I think from the public standpoint anyway, you brought in Elliott before even the 3 bigs. And so he said he doubted himself. The team he played on last year did not have a great year. Other than assists, he did not have a great year. What did you see in him that you thought he could get you to this moment?
It's a great question. We had seen him in prep ranks, and we had seen him in high school ranks, and we felt like we needed a quarterback, a pass-first quarterback on the floor at all times. And with Elliott, once we got him, we were able to sell him. And even I coached Sean May years ago in AAU basketball, and so I called Sean. And I said, and he gave me all the intel and everything on the background. And I just said, let me ask you one question. Would 17, 18-year-old Sean May, who was a McDonald's All-American, NBA player, All-American, all of it, would he want to play with Elliott Cadeau? And he said, explicative, yeah, absolutely, let's go. And I said, that's all I need to know, because Sean is one of the smartest, best players I've ever been around. And so I valued his opinion that much. And that was a stamp on the intangibles and whether I thought we could win this with him, because on film it was there. I mean, he's a savant. I mean, he's brilliant. And so he's made us better coaches, and hopefully we've helped him become a better player.
Right side toward the back of the room, 40.
Hey, Dusty, Pat 40 from Sports Illustrated. You talked there about Elliott, but the group as a whole, when you're putting it together, you never really know for sure. How rewarding is it to have it turn out this well?
I think the most rewarding part is they never changed. Like this came, we weren't very good early in the year. The first 2 exhibitions, we beat St. John's, but they weren't St. John's yet. And then we didn't play well. And at that point, we considered pivoting and changing our lineup and going a different direction and maybe admitting failure for our vision. And because of our staff, I remember the day like it was yesterday. We're in the conference room and we did a deep dive in everything that you can come up with to try to predict whether we thought it would work. And once we left that meeting, we were more committed than ever that this is going to work, and these are the reasons why. Now, we didn't feel like it was like bamboo. We didn't feel like the bamboo was just going to shoot to the sky the next week in Vegas, but it did, and then it happens quickly where we're playing at that level. And that's typically when it gets more difficult. I've been on assistant on staffs when you play like that, and that's when it really gets tough because there's more tension, there's more of everything coming at your guys. And for them not to waver on how they, I guess, continue to give, to me, that's probably the hardest part and most rewarding thing that these guys did.
Final question, the final 4, Lindsay.
Hey, Dusty, Lindsay Schnell from The Athletic. I went up during the game into the very last row and sat with a bunch of Michigan fans, some of whom had paid a lot of money for a pretty bad view. I wondered, what is it like to coach at a program where you have that type of fan support? And also, when you came to the Final Four, when you were young, did you ever sit in those really bad seats when you were a coach that was making no money or trying to get in?
No, I never had tickets. I never attended a game until Mike Davis made it in 2002. And at that time, he had already offered me a position on the staff, even though he didn't have one yet, coming from USC. So we had played in the same regional. We had got upset by UNC Wilmington, and he created a position to bring me back home. But in that process, they continued to advance. And so he got me great tickets right behind the team and started that process of acclimating to their program. And so that was the only time I ever went. And so, yeah, the tickets, all these people that pay hard-earned money and give us their time to support us, it's appreciated. We're very, very grateful.
We want to thank and congratulate Dusty May, the head coach of the 2026 National